Welcome, wanderer. I'm glad you found your way here. Tonight begins a quiet journey, a tale set in a world of mist-laced woods, a candlelit chapel, and a whispered secret. You'll meet a band of gentle souls as they tread into a village touched by mystery and something deeper still. No need to know all the answers just yet. Just let the story unfold softly around you. This is a brand new channel, and I want to thank you, truly, for being here at the beginning. If you enjoy this kind of ambient storytelling with a blend of roleplay, fantasy world building, and immersive ASMR, please consider liking the video, subscribing, and joining us again as this story and others begin to take shape. Now, take a moment. Let the weight of the day loosen from your shoulders. Let your thoughts grow quieter, softer, like leaves settling after a wind. Imagine your space beginning to shift, your walls giving way to twilight woods, your ceiling fading into a clouded sky. The sun falling behind the horizon ahead, and the sound of hooves on wet earth. You're no longer here. You're just outside of the village of Thirn Hollow, and the road stretches out before you. Grab your D20. The journey is about to begin. The mist swirls in a memory not his own, rising like breath from the mouths of the dead. In the dream, Corin stands behind a skeletal tree, its branches etched against a starless sky. Around him, weather-worn markers jut from the ground like jagged teeth, names blurred or lost to time, and above each grave a single lantern floats, flickering with pale fire. One drifts slower than the rest, a quiet, baleful light, swaying as if stirred by invisible hands. It hovers above a stone choked in moss. No name, no symbol, only silence. And then, a voice behind him speaking a name he does not know, but cannot seem to commit to memory. Corin Blackreed blinks the daydream from his eyes. Rain taps at his shoulders as he rides beneath the bowed branches of the road into Thirn Hollow, his hood drawn up against the wet. The scent of damp earth and wet horsehair clings to the air. His features are angular, sharp in the way of someone who's grown into hardship rather than out of it. His eyes, deep set and dark, hold the kind of weariness that doesn't fade with sleep. There's a crookedness to his smile, though it rarely shows, more often hinted at by the lift of an eyebrow or the twitch of a scarred lip. A black ring circles his left iris, faint but undeniable, a mark left by something other than injury or ink. Name I've never heard and can't seem to remember. The horses move steadily through the muddy road, hooves sinking softly into ruts. The mist here is thick, alive almost. Trees press close, their branches heavy with rain. Every so often something moves just beyond periphery, too slow for a bird, too fast for wind. A dare talon shade rides slightly ahead, her form cutting a lean silhouette against the fading light of day. She sits her mount with ease, posture fluid, effortless. Her dark cloak hangs over well-fitted leathers, edges treated with forest moss to mask scent. Her bow, strung but slack, sits nested across her back, and a pair of curved knives ride at her hips. Her skin is tan and freckled from long seasons beneath the forest canopy, and her eyes, gray-green and hawkish, miss little. She slows her horse, posture tilting slightly. Make a perception check. 17 with your perception. Far ahead, through the trees, where the road bends toward the low hills, a shimmer pulses. Deep into the tree line, nearly lost in shadow and distance, something glows, a faint blue-white light. It hovers, motionless, halfway up the rise, perhaps moonlight refracting off a stagnant pond or a fading lamppost just outside of town. Adair narrows her eyes. No sound, no movement, nothing. There's a light, deep in the forest, direction of the village. Could be nothing, but I've seen reflections in wolf eyes that looked the same. Hooves splash gently through wet grass behind her. Sister Thalin rides with hands clasped in prayer, her long sleeves gathered at the wrists to avoid the mud. Her outer garment is dyed a deep violet, shimmering iridescent in this light, edged in silver thread that catches the setting sun. Her hair is pinned beneath a circlet of iron thorns, a symbol of her order, the stewards of the veil. Her face is composed, sharp and clear like a statue smoothed by centuries of rain. She is beautiful in the way a cathedral is beautiful, distant, reverent, shaped by rules only the devout understand. She draws a slow breath with her fingers, traces a pattern in the air. No words are spoken, no glow manifests, but something unseen shifts like a breath caught in the throat of the world. A spell, subtle and old, settles around the party as if being tucked in with a warm blanket. The veil is thin here. I can feel it brushing close, like a shroud caught in the wind. Whatever awaits in Thirn Hollow, it is aware of us already. The last of their number rides just behind, atop a dark bay mare with a temperament as quiet as its rider. Sir Beric of the Emberhold vow wears his armor like a confession, scratched, scarred, but with polished care. The sigil on his tabard, a flame encircled by ash, is that of a fallen order, one broken by war and oath alike, His helm hangs from his saddle horn, revealing a square jaw dusted with silver stubble and eyes that hold a steadiness earned by loss. A thick scar creeps from beneath his collar into the edge of his jaw, old, surgical. His sword wrapped in linen sags down his hip. He has not drawn it in days and hopes not to tonight. Corin, this village, is it grief that pulls you here, or guilt? Call it a feeling, or something darker. Doesn't really matter much which. Feels like it's got claws. The road curves now, sloping downward toward a break in the trees. Beyond the bend, lights flicker faintly through the mist that shrouds the twilight. Candles set in windows, golden and warm, untouched by the chill. Thirn Hollow crouches between forest and fen, its roofs sagging with age, its walls bowed inward as if trying to hold something inside. Mist pools at its edges, and somewhere in the woods behind them, something watches. The party rides through the village gates as dusk begins to fall upon the town. The horses' hooves clatter dully on uneven cobblestone, mist curling between the stones like old breath. A crooked sign swings gently above the door of the largest building, the Tarn and Thistle Tavern. Warm yellow light glows behind rippled glass panes, resisting the damp chill that creeps ever inward. The villagers still out at this hour move with quiet purpose. They cast sidelong glances toward the newcomers, some with nods of acknowledgement, others with narrowed eyes of wariness. No one speaks directly. Doors close softly behind them. Thalin dismounts first, whispering something inaudible to her mount as she loops the reins. One by one, the party follows. Adair lingers, nearing the edge of the square, scanning the rooftops and alleyways. Corin stretches, grimacing at the ache in his shoulders. Beric exhales slowly as he dismounts, his hand brushing the hilt of his wrapped blade by habit. The door to the tavern opens with a soft creak, and they step inside. The warmth is immediate, firelight dancing across aged wooden beams, the smell of spiced cider and old smoke curling in the air. A scattering of townsfolk huddle around simple tables, speaking in low tones, eyes flickering toward the newcomers. The room quiets just for a moment, not out of fear, not quite suspicion either. Something in between, a reverence tinged with unease. At the bar stands a broad-shouldered woman with auburn braids tied behind her head like cords. Her skin is sun-darkened, her arms bare and marked by faded burns and inked swirls, symbols of storms and steel. Her chin strong and her face signifies her age, creasing at the corners of her eyes. Her hands rest on the bar, still watchful, but not unkind. This is Vola Bramblebraid, keeper of the Tarn and Thistle Tavern. Well, Strangers arriving near sundown. That's either brave or foolish. Bit of both, I imagine. Name's Corin Blackreed. We've come by the road from Waymere Pass. These are my companions. Sister Thalen of the Vale, Sir Beric of the Emberhold Vow, and Adair Talonshade. He gestures to each in turn. Thalen offers a slight nod. Beric steps forward with the air of practiced calm. Adair merely watches, silent and sharp-eyed. We're here on a kind of calling, dreams, omens, and word of strange lights. Reckoned it might be worth investigating. Vola's eyes tighten just slightly at the mention of lights. Not fear, but restraint. Her fingers tap once, twice, against the polished wood of the counter. I'm not sure She cuts off, looks down. A moment's pause. We mean your people no harm. Only peace, if we can help it. I've worn the badge of a knight long enough to know when a place is pressed by something it doesn't understand. Make a persuasion check. 16 plus your persuasion modifier, a 25. Beric's words settle over the room like a warm stone in winter. Several villagers return to their drinks. One old man nods approvingly from the hearth. Vola's shoulders ease. It's the chapel, up on the hill past the well. Lately there's been, well, the bells ring when no one's inside, and folk, mostly the curious, have gone missing if they linger past curfew. She pours a kettle of hot cider into mismatched mugs and gestures for them to sit. Chaplain Alaris keeps to the chapel. Good art, that one. Too good to face what she's seen alone. If you want the truth, she'll have more than I do. As she speaks, Adair scans the room, her eyes tracking movement like a hunting cat. Most heads are bowed, conversations muted, but one table catches her attention. Near the far wall beneath a tattered mural of an old harvest scene, a young girl sits beside her father. The child leans over a scrap of parchment, sketching with charcoal. A simple picture, but one that halts Adair's breath. A gravestone, a glowing light hovering above it, dozens more behind it. A scene eerily familiar. Look, the girl. Thalen rises and crosses the room, every step light and deliberate. She kneels beside the table, her tone gentle, her presence almost ceremonial. That's a lovely drawing. Are those lanterns above the stones? Mm-hmm. They come every night. Papa says not to watch too long. The father shifts in his seat, human, broad-handed and tired, with the smith's shoulders and soot still caught beneath his fingernails. He nods in greeting cautiously. My daughter's name is Ella. I'm Bram. The lights aren't just tricks. I've seen 'em. We all have, floating like fireflies, but they're cold. Wrong. And those who stay out too late don't come back. At least, not as themselves. A quiet descends around the table. Corin leads against the far post, arms folded, staring into the middle distance. The way his eyes go dark, the way his brow pulls low, make it clear this is no surprise to him. I seen this in dreams. Lanterns that are young by human hands. It's not coincidence that we came here. Then perhaps you've come at the right hour. The fire snaps behind them, casting long shadows on the stone walls. Outside the mist thickens. The village feels smaller by the second, folded into itself, hiding whatever truths it dares not speak aloud. The bells of the chapel ring out, once, then twice, but no one has pulled the rope. Vola stiffens, so does Bram. The entire room falls still. The party shares a glance. There is no panic, but there is fear. Familiar, practiced fear. It's the kind of silence that grows in towns, too used to the unknown. Beric stands. His jaw clenches, but his voice is calm. It's time we met with Chaplain Alaris. They step into the fading light once more, the tavern door closing behind them. Above the village, the chapel bell tolls again, and somewhere, something listens. Night has claimed Thirn Hollow. Rain mists the cobblestones as the party moves quietly through the narrow lanes. Overhead, clouds drift like funeral shrouds, veiling the moon in gauze. Each step draws them nearer the chapel, its steeple crooked like a lifted finger, its old stone walls veined with moss. No birds or frogs, only the creak of saddles and the hush of hooves on soaked earth. The path to the chapel winds through the heart of Thirn Hollow, where crooked cottages lean toward one another like old conspirators. As the party passes, the soft glow of candles flicker behind drawn curtains. Make an insight check. Your best is 15. With a careful eye and brief exchange of glances, it becomes clear. The townfolk aren't merely settling in for the night. One by one, doors are bolted in hushed urgency. Window shutters close with deliberate quiet, yet the lights within remain burning, as though to ward off something just beyond the veil of glass and wood. Behind each curtain, eyes linger, watching, waiting. As they near the chapel grounds, the bell falls silent, leaving only the thick, eerie hush of night in its place. The chapel door stands ajar, a sliver of golden light spilling out onto the path. From within comes the faint sound of prayer, a melodic voice weaving words older than the stones beneath their boots. Sir Beric steps down first, grounding his presence with a hand upon the hilt of his sheathed sword. One by one, the others follow. Inside, candlelight dances across the stained glass. Simple pews line the nave. Votive candles burn low at the altar. Incense lingers, dry and spicy. And at the center of the room stands a tall elven figure in deep blue robes, silver runes stitched at the cuffs. Chaplain Alaris turns slowly, hands folded over the symbol of her goddess, a willow etched upon a disk of moonstone. Her features are ageless, serene. Pale hair flows like water down her back, catching the amber light. As the group settles into the chapel's quiet, Alaris moves gracefully to relight a candle snuffed by the breeze. Her voice, though soft, carries the weight of someone who has already stood through many long nights. "I came when I heard the bell toll," she says, eyes fixed on the flame. "It rang without wind or hand, an old bell and steeple no one dares touch. I do not fear these spirits, but they are troubled, and prayer, it seems, brings them a moment's calm." She glances toward the high window where the bell still hangs, unmoving. "Welcome, wanderers. I felt your coming in the marrow of this place. I am Alaris, servant of the quiet flame, and keeper of this chapel. You tread upon sacred soil, and we do so with care, chaplain. I am Sister Thalon of the Stewards of the Vale. With me rides Sir Beric of the Emberhold Vow, Adair Talonshade, and Corin Blackreed. We seek understanding and answers." Alaris inclines her head. She gestures to the pews, and they sit. She speaks of the land, of what came before. Long before Thirn Hollow stood, this land was known as Tefara's Breath, a place where the veil thinned, where spirits moved freely and were honored by wandering druids and barrow folk. When the village was founded some 3 centuries past, settlers built atop the old ritual grounds, converting the sacred groves into a graveyard, and later this chapel. But the balance was preserved until recently. For generations, the spirits slept, dreams beneath the roots, whispers in the fog, nothing more. But now they stir, they rise, and not all who rise are at peace. Thunder rolls low and distant. A door creaks at the back of the chapel. From the shadows, a stooped figure lumbers in, fur damp, shoulders hunched beneath a patched cloak. A gnoll, aged and gray-muzzled. A lantern dangles from a crooked cane in one hand, a rusted keyring in the other. This is Lem Bonetooth, gravekeeper. His gait is slow but steady, eyes deep-set beneath a heavy brow. His fur, once perhaps gold, is now a patchwork of ash and frost. Despite his ancestry, there is a gentleness to his affect, a patience earned by a lifetime spent in the company of the dead. Storms brewing. Graves been spilling their water for weeks now. Never seen the hill take to flooding like this. Earth's soft as soup. You mind if we look? Go, if you must, but tread softly. The party steps back out into the cold, where the mist curls like ghost breath across the graveyard gates. Iron fencing lines the hill, twisted in places by time and vine. Stones lean at odd angles, their inscriptions worn thin by centuries of weather. Adair kneels beside a grave slope, brushing fingers across the muddied earth. Make a nature check. 27 with your modifier. The soil tells a story. Recent rains have pulled it downhill, carving rivulets and washing debris from older graves. Drainage here is poor. Many stones have shifted, some roots exposed. Soil's been sliding. Graves closest to the tree line are half sunk. Could be why things are stirring, roots tangled with the dead. Then they deserve stillness once more. Beric bows his head before a crumbling monument. His gauntlet brushes the stone with reverence. He does not speak. He merely stands in silence, gaze lowered, offering something quieter than a prayer. Respect. Nearby, Thalin steps beside Hilaris once more. Her fingers interlace with the chaplain's, and the two begin a wordless ritual of stillness, calling down calm upon the restless. Their words are a whisper of wind, a memory made audible. Let your burden pass. Let it pass through us. Meanwhile, Corin walks the length of the graveyard's far fence, his boots sucking slightly in the mud. He stops, stares. There's a gravestone here. Tall, weather-worn, ancient. It stands apart from the others, near the base of an old ash tree whose limbs claw toward the sky like bony fingers reaching for a light just out of reach. He crouches. Make an insight check. 7. He can tell it's old, very old. The lettering, if there ever was any, is lost to moss and erosion. No name or date, just a stone like a silent sentinel in the rain. But there's something else, an echo of what he saw in the dream. The same skeletal tree, the same silence, the same feeling of being watched from beneath. You again. Mist weaves between the gravestones as the wind picks up. Candles flicker on their sconces. Somewhere far behind them, a door slams in the village proper. Or was it somewhere else? The hill waits, the dead whisper, and the old nameless stone continues to keep its secrets. The wind has stopped, not faded, not lessened, stopped. Corin notices it first. A moment ago, rain tickled the stone and leaves, the damp night muttering its 1,000 soft syllables. But now the world holds its breath. No patter, no rustle, no creak of swaying limbs, just stillness, heavy and listening. Corin glances upward, drawn by something beyond reason. Clouds veil the moon, but a pale glow breaks through, not from above, but from within. A single lantern floats downward. It does not fall, it descends, graceful as a feather on breathless air. Its light glows soft, steady, and blue-white, like starlight caught in glass. It halts just before him, eye level, its glass pane fogged as though it, too, is breathing. Corin doesn't move, and then dozens more. They drift from nowhere, blooming into being across the graveyard, each hovering above a different resting place. Some high, some low, some close enough to warm your face. The whole yard is aglow in ghost light, dancing, pulsing, silent. By the veil. Make a religion check. A 21. They are not haunting, not quite. There is no malevolence in these flames, no tether to undeath or sorrow. Instead, they feel ancient, familiar, as though the earth itself remembers, dreaming through the light. Thalin's brow furrows. It should comfort her, but she knows too many things that begin with beauty and end in ruin. They are not ghosts, but I know not what they are. Stepping softly from the chapel's threshold, Alaris speaks, voice low and calm. The lanterns are not harmful, that much I've learned, but they do mean something. They began to appear weeks ago, always at night, always over a grave. They flicker in silence, then vanish with the dawn. I have prayed, I have watched, but whatever speaks through them speaks not to me. Adair watches the graveyard in sharp silence. The lights are beautiful, but beauty can be a predator's snare. Make an investigation check. 9. She narrows her eyes, trying to track the angle of descent, the pattern, the glow. Her mind flicks back to the forest. That light, barely seen, deep in the trees. It was the same hue, the same pulse, but the link slips away like water from cupped hands. Lights like these don't appear without reason, and not always a kind one. I do not ask you to trust the light, only to observe. Beric steps toward one of the lanterns. It floats within arm's reach, quivering slightly like a leaf in still water. He reaches out, palm upward. It lowers, obedient, curious. He cups the air beneath it. The warmth is faint but real, like fire remembered rather than kindled. His eyes close. something moves inside him, a memory not his own, the echo of vows spoken in another tongue, a battlefield of long-fallen oaks, a lullaby hummed by a mother he'd never met. He breathes deep, then lets the lantern rise. They carry fragments, lives of another time and age. Corin hasn't moved. The lantern above the grave still floats before him, closer now, brighter. Its pulse matches his breath, not in mimicry, in unison. The rhythm is unmistakable. Inhale, glow. Exhale, fade. Inhale, glow, fade. His heart matches it too now, faster, deeper. He looks down, the gravestone beneath the light, the gravestone, the same moss-choked marker from his dream. No name, no carving, only time. Make an insight check. 10. It's one of the oldest stones in the yard, weathered smooth by rain and time. Its placement, its angle, even the moss growing on its surface feels familiar, but the details slip through awareness. He's not certain what links him to this grave, only that something does. The lantern trembles. It pulses once, twice, and stills. He turns toward the forest. At the edge of the trees, the mist parts. Just beyond the reach of firelight, something moves. No form or shape, just presence. Another whisper curling like fog over grave dirt. The light remains steady. The others don't yet notice the voice. Only Corin hears it. And he knows, in the marrow of his bones, that the forest calls only him.